252.
Okay, for all the news and reviews and pop culture that's right to type, 252 top stories. Art.
Taika Waititi and Bryce Dallas Howard. You didn't think I was going to say it right, did you?
No, I did not.
They pulled double duty with The Mandalorian. As they're both now rumored to have roles in the series, Disney is investing heavily in their upcoming streaming service. It will include new movies, original Marvel TV series, and even the first ever live-action Star Wars show, and that sounds dope.
I've been waiting my entire life for
Now,
this.
the latter will be written and produced by Jon Favreau, but he doesn't appear to be directing.
Wait,
Favreau.
who was that?
Jon Favreau. Jean
Favreau.
It's confirmed that the series will be called The Mandalorian, and fans recently got a look at what the main character looks like, just not who's under the mask.
Now, the first thing that I want to say is I was really excited about this, but my first thought goes to the Star Wars Extended Universe,
As
the whole
it should,
book series,
yes.
and there were so many different stories with being on Mandalore, and I remember they had the storyline with Boba Fett, and he had a granddaughter, I believe her name was Mirta Gev or something like that, and there was like this whole society of Mandalorians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, they can retcon, because I think they have retconned a couple of things from the Star Wars Extended Universe.
I thought they just
and
dashed
brought
it all.
That's what they said at first. They say, all that other stuff is over here.
Yeah.
These are the stories going from here forward.
They got rid of it, but they've been bringing little bits that they
Little
like
bits,
back.
right.
Yeah.
They've been bringing little bits back. So with The Mandalorian, I'm really hoping. Go ahead.
You know, I'm going to keep open mind. If it's a good, decent show, I don't care if it follows canon or not. I just want to enjoy it.
I agree. I agree with that too.
Yeah.
The only problem that I have is these damn streaming services. It's like
there's so many of them.
It's getting too much. I need one spot that has all the streaming services, and I want to pay just one fee for all of it.
Well,
I don't know. Can we call it cable?
That's what you had, and it's like, I don't want to pay this one fee for all this shit at once. So that's how we got here. And then eventually they'll bundle all the streaming services into a package deal and feed it to you at once, and they're back in the business as cable TV.
Do you know which streaming service it's going to be on?
Disney, the
Disney one?
the Disney app. That's That's all of the stuff is going to be on the Disney app. So a lot of the stuff that's already currently on Netflix and Hulu and stuff.
I guess I won't
Disney,
feel bad.
classic Disney and all that stuff. Everything is going
Yeah.
to the Disney
I
app.
won't feel bad buying it for my kids.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna have it all.
And me. I mean,
For people that are younger and going forward and stuff, like we're of the generation where we used to buy things and own them. You know, everybody now is used to streaming, leasing, renting, and borrowing. So like to people now, it's like, oh, I get all the Disney movies for just this one price every month or whatever. That's awesome. You know, meanwhile, I've got a shelf of stuff from 25 years. Like I got all these movies, but I want to pay for them again. You know, so it's a perspective thing there. Like, I think they'll do fine, but they're not going to really get my $10 a month. I'll find another way. People will put it on YouTube or something.
and those videotapes, CDs, and DVDs, they eventually deteriorate anyway, so it should be in the cloud, which will never die.
It belongs in the museum. Further proof we're all living in a simulation. Limp Bizkit set at Rock Allegiance Festival in Camden, New Jersey was briefly interrupted after Insane Clown Posse's Shaggy 2 Dope reportedly rushed the stage in an attempt to drop kick Limp Bizkit singer Fred Durst. Yes, JB, I see that look you have on your face. Yeah. That is what
Worlds
happened.
collided.
I don't think it's reportedly. I've seen like video from 6 angles. It definitely happened.
Well, it was. Well, I say because it was.
I can't believe he missed. Like the dumbass has done that move 1,000 times. He either intentionally missed because they're trying to work up an angle and there's going to be a Shaggy versus Fred battle somewhere in the future, or he slipped on the wet stage and fell on his ass, which is probably what really happened. But he should be used to a wet stage because he plays on a stage covered in pop every fucking night. I mean, you know, I don't know what was on there. Maybe dude drank too much, but it seems unlikely that you would sneak past security onto the main stage at a show and be able to attack the fucking singer.
Yeah, that had to be a setup because security is usually on top of shit.
I agree. Publicity stunt all the way.
Well, he did. It was like you said, Frank. It was
Well, they have had beef, so to speak, in the hip hop world now for 20 years. So they could actually be angry with each other, but I think they're just working at
Beef in the hip hop world.
They never have those.
Well, the white boy hip hop world, you know.
I mean,
It was a '90s thing there, when people said "yeah" all the time.
I like the fact that it happened during the song Faith.
Yeah.
Cause I gotta have faith. I like that song.
I can't comment because I don't listen to either of those bands. I just
You
don't.
never did?
Never did.
I mean, I would say
Hey,
yes.
wait.
Not
Limp
now.
Bizkit's a little too loud. My cousin was really into them.
Yeah.
But you have heard their songs.
Bits and pieces before I plug my ears. I know they're gonna hate me for that, but that's okay.
Now, you know what would have been interesting is if he had connected with that kick and sent Fred Durst into the front fucking row, and then grabbed the microphone and sang Faith himself. Now that would have been something worth getting on TV with. You know, as it was, it just looked like a total dumbass. And I can't believe that part was intentional, but he's been known to make himself look like a dumbass on purpose before he dresses like a clown as a 45-year-old man.
Now, Shaggy, is that the skinny one or the fat one?
They're both skinny now, but he was the original skinny one.
The other guy lost a bunch of weight. Did he become vegan?
I highly doubt it, but he stopped being on a lot of medications and started smoking weed instead, and that he lost like a whole bunch of medication weight real quick.
JP, next story.
James Gunn was fired from
Whoop,
Marvel's
whoop.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and now he's headed to DC Comics.
All right, so that's great news for JB.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers confirmed that Gunn will write the script to the studio's next Suicide Squad installment.
And there it goes.
I think they should call it Suicide Squad.
Suicide.
Please continue.
In July, Disney fired Gunn from the Guardians franchise he shepherded after jokes he wrote involving rape and pedophilia on Twitter from 2009 to 2012, which resurfaced.
We here at 252, we don't condone Twitter.
Well, apparently what James Gunn should have had is he should have had a calendar where he marked the days that he put his tweets and that he can only make those jokes on this
those
day.
days, yeah.
So I didn't do that here.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Well, you know what? A big win for...
Why does he like beer?
I like beer. I like beer. I mean, we've actually seen this move before. Recently, when Joss Whedon took over for Zack Snyder,
Yeah.
and then we got the Justice League.
It's all the same.
Oh, man.
But
I'm supposed to be hating, not you guys.
oh no, I'm just saying that. I mean, it clearly was
Hey,
two
look,
different movies. But this one, however, is he's doing the whole. He's writing it and directing it,
I know.
starting it from scratch.
There you go.
So
Suicide Squad is good. It's a good team. It's a good comic.
Yeah.
It deserves a good movie.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
When Disney hires James Gunn back, he's going to jump right the hell off of that DC shit. So.
Who is Batista gonna play? He already said, "Sign me up, I'm in." Like, I'm sure Marvel's just gonna love that shit.
yeah, I'm not quite sure if he's in.
Well, he's in according to him, but you know.
Yeah, he's like Batista. You know what side your bread is buttered. You better.
I don't think he shouldn't be contractually obligated to not be in another movie because he's in that movie, though. I mean, he's been in Blade Runner since.
Well, I mean, there are actors that have walked between both worlds that have been
This
in
is
DC
true.
movies as
So
well
they should
as
take the whole Guardians of the Galaxy and put them in the Suicide Squad. Boom!
I don't think you can do
Which
that.
part is a raccoon going to play?
The universe crossover, and they'll do that battle.
The Rocket.
Well, they did.
Harley Quinn.
They did do it in the comic books, right?
Yeah.
DC versus Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, they also did JLA versus Avengers.
JLA versus Avengers, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the very first one, Superman versus Spider-Man. The very first
that was
DC
very
Marvel
first
crossover.
Was that?
Yes, it was. The DC and Marvel both released their versions of it. Only the Marvel one's worth money. The DC version
Imagine
wasn't
that.
very good.
Yeah.
And staying on that Marvel train, this week's review, Venom. Journalist Eddie Brock is trying to take down Carlton Drake. the notorious and brilliant founder of the Life Foundation. While investigating one of Drake's experiments, Eddie's body merges with the alien Venom, leaving him with superhuman strength and power. Twisted, dark, and fueled by rage, Venom tries to control the new and dangerous abilities that Eddie finds so intoxicating.
Here's my review. This was a movie.
Okay, and
You know what it was about? About 2 hours too long.
I'm gonna say this.
It's
Okay,
Richard
all right,
Pryor.
all right,
Yeah, that's
all
good.
right. So I'm gonna say if you are a fan of Venom, now
Don't see this
there's
movie.
an early Venom, there's a later Venom. What I've come to find out, what a lot of these with these comic book movies that are coming out, sometimes they're using the source material of one or two books, and they're basing a whole movie or even a whole franchise on the one or two books.
Right.
I kind of feel in this one, they are very, very loosely going with the source material of these Venom books. And going into it, I had reservations in the first place because how are you going to have a Venom movie without Spider-Man? I mean, how do you even...
Well, we know that you can make a bad movie without Spider-Man.
Well, yes.
You can make a bad with Spider-Man.
I mean, listen,
yeah.
even the very
Point taken,
even the
Spider-Man
very
3.
beginning of it. Why does Venom look like Spider-Man?
I know.
I mean,
It doesn't make sense.
That doesn't even make sense
You
because for
might
the
as well put
eyes.
the
Well, but he doesn't because they haven't had black suit Spider-Man yet either. So he looks like Spider-Man that we know, but not Spider-Man in their universe. But he's not even in their universe, so they don't even.
That's what.
They had the black suit Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. Don't forget that.
The idea is that's
So you're
what
saying
the
he?
other one looks like.
So the Venom when he was the ooze, he saw a video of Black Suit
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3.
3 and says, "Hey, I think I want that look,
Yes.
so that's what I'm going to morph
You know
myself
what? I
into."
wouldn't doubt it because he knew slang and everything. So
Yeah.
you know what? I don't want to get into this right now.
Well, hold on. Well, I mean, okay.
This
You know
is a
what?
review.
What?
Are we gonna
Well, okay.
review this?
This is a non-spoiler review, so I'm not. I'm just gonna say
I don't give a damn if you spoil this movie.
this.
Yeah,
This
you can't
movie.
spoil this movie.
This
it's
movie.
already spoiled.
It could have been so much better. They advertised it as one thing, but if you think about it, as just kind of a fun buddy cop, sci-fi-ish, horror-ish comedy, then you're really gonna enjoy Venom.
Either Brock is just not that interesting of a character to spend an entire hour of the movie on him.
Yes.
They should have brought Venom in a lot earlier.
That's
So
true.
like Venom 2 might be better.
I think.
I don't think there will be
I
a
think.
Venom 2.
I think financially.
Dude, it's like the
It's
number
making
one
money.
film that made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That opening weekend was a monster. We'll see what the drop off
Well,
is.
I mean,
if any.
it's October. It's not.
They've already said they're doing Venom 2, so they.
I was in a
Oh,
packed
yeah.
theater, and people laughed when they were supposed to laugh. I did not laugh at anything except the unintentionally funny stuff.
I laughed at the scene at the end credits. I won't give it away, but that was hilarious,
Yeah,
and it
funny.
wasn't intended to be.
And the buddy copness of it. I mean, it was.
I mean,
The PG-13ification of.
I
this
think they
movie.
made it PG-13 so they could bring Spider-Man in eventually.
They can do whatever they want to do.
Well, the one thing that this movie definitely made me realize is Sony don't do any more movies without the MCU. Just relax. Because after you guys did Homecoming, we're like, yeah, we don't need you guys for the next Spider-Man movie.
Exactly.
No,
They got this.
don't do that.
Just release the right to the.
The next one now is Morbius. They already got that one.
Again, it's another Spider-Man villain without Spider-Man. Well, anti-hero.
He first appeared in Spider-Man, fought him a few times, and then really broke off to it. They put him in the magazine series so they wouldn't be censored, and he's kind of a solo villain character. He's not really a antagonist to Spider-Man.
Like
Well,
Venom.
Like Venom was.
Like
So
Venom
Venom
was,
appeared heavily in Spider-Man, one of his main villains. Big difference.
Yes.
Symbiote.
Well, and they were going to do that Silver and Black with Silver Sable and Black Cat. So they're kind of taking all the side characters and trying to make them into their own universe without Spider-Man being in the middle. Like, well, but he's the thing that ties them all together. So why are they there?
The only thing in
Thank
this
you.
movie that tied it to Spider-Man was the mention of the Daily Globe, and they dropped J. Jonah Jameson's name.
John Jameson.
John Jameson.
Yeah.
Is that what the first J stands for? Is it
Yeah.
John?
Well, that's his son.
His son,
He was
the
the guy who
astronaut,
would-
turned
the
into the
astronaut.
man wolf.
Yeah.
Ah.
See, now we could have Man-Wolf and Morbius and Venom, and they can bring Blade back as somebody who probably wouldn't be Wesley Snipes, and throw in a Ghost Rider that doesn't suck, and they've got that whole Midnight Suns thing.
Well, you know
And
what?
got
They
James,
did that.
They
Remember?
got James Bond. Let's have James Bond thrown in the mix.
Well, I was just gonna say what Frank just said. They actually did that. They were like, Netflix is coming out with this series,
Yeah,
and,
and
it was an
April
April Fool's joke.
I remember that.
That was nice.
Yeah. Well,
What's not an April Fool's joke?
Ralphie D recommends. So I married an axe murderer.
Love it, love it.
Just after a bad breakup, Charlie McKenzie, played by Mike Myers, falls for
Look at his head!
the lovely butcher Harriet Michaels, played by
like
Nancy
Sputnik.
Travis.
It's like an orange on the toothpick.
Introduces her to his parents, but as voracious consumers of sensational tabloids, his parents soon come to suspect
Ooh.
that Harriet is
Say that
actually
again.
But as voracious consumers of sensational tabloids, his parents soon come to suspect that Harriet is actually a notorious serial killer.
5 times fast.
Mrs. X, wanted in connection with a string of bizarre
Is she
honeymoon
Mrs.
killings.
X?
Thinking his parents foolish, Charlie responds to Harriet. But while on his honeymoon with her, spoiler alert, they get married, he begins to fear.
So
they
I
were right.
married an axe murderer.
Oh, right.
I believe
title.
it's in the title.
Yeah, you're right.
Spoiler alert. Getting married.
Look, this
Like dude, Mike Myers, axe murderer. I mean, the things are kind of going together anyway. So, and the new Halloween comes out next week?
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a totally ridiculous movie, and I loved it.
Loved every minute of
Every
it.
minute, it was great.
great tone.
Excuse me, I think I ordered the large cappuccino.
Set in San Francisco,
Oh,
hilarious.
that was the other thing. You know, Eddie Brock is walking around with this
We're
New York
back to this.
accent in San
Well,
Francisco.
Yeah, he said there
Yeah, but you're walking around with a New York accent in San Francisco. What are you talking about?
First of all, I sound like I'm from the Bay now.
No, half the time you slip into New York, you gotta say the right words, but it comes out. It's there for life.
where he said, I moved out here from New York, or I followed you here to San Francisco.
He's
Well, don't you know how the Marvel Universe works? Every supervillain and superhero is from New York.
That's because they all have Stan Lee's voice filtered through whatever they're wearing, Excelsior!
I do love it when a British guy plays New York. That's always great.
Yeah, it's like Bane is Venom, right? Like, why is Bane Venom? Quick question. See, there's somebody who crossed over DC to Marvel.
There you go.
And Tom Hardy is too short. Not the rapper. He's too short to play.
That would really be some whitewashing there.
Well, at least
Tom Hardy is
Too short. What's my favorite word? Bitch! That's a bumper.
at least Venom is smart. He located himself in San Francisco where there are no superheroes, there are no supervillains
This
or
is
crime.
true. You're right.
Because in the Marvel Universe, it all takes place in Manhattan.
My son, he leans over, he goes, hey, Dad, what's up with Marvel always putting these big buildings on the side of a mountain? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, they do that a lot.
And they were going to launch rockets from it, too.
Yes,
It's
they
amazing.
And Iron Man suits.
And Riot. Why Riot as a villain? And then Riot, it was supposed to bond with a security guard, not the main bad. Like,
You trying to make sense of this movie?
Yeah,
I'm trying to. Anyway,
Yeah.
No, the biggest hole, and I'm not going to spoil it, is when Venom makes a complete 180.
Oh, yeah.
Just a complete 180 for no reason at all. Off screen, he has this huge epiphany,
well,
and he changes his entire
the
course
reason
of
why
action.
is because Venom, when he had bonded with Spider-Man, he had took on some of Spider-Man's
But
sensibilities.
Spider-Man is not in this movie.
What had happened was when Venom had bonded with Peter Parker, he had took on some of his sensibilities. That's why. The only reason why, because he was hurt. It was a bad breakup.
Yeah.
I'm Cool Water Kurt. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm Ralphie D, and that's not news to me.
I'm JB. I want to put a shout out to my man AM at Comics Most Wanted. Like him, follow him, subscribe him. That's This is 252 News and Reviews, where you hear it first.
Are you sure that's what this is?
Where are we? Why is everything green?
I took a whole 180.
I'm still spinning from the plot of Venom. It's got me confused.
Adonis, pull yourself together.